This page is the front cover for volume 11 of 64 magazine, proclaiming itself as the best-selling N64 mag. The cover star is Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, being touted as an RPG and finally available in English, which was a big deal at the time as RPGs were a bit thin on the ground on the N64 early on. There's a free Duke Nukem 64 solution book being given away, always handy for those tricky bits in Duke's adventures. Bomberman 64 gets a mention too, boasting a massive 18-page solution inside. Down at the bottom, Fighter's Destiny is called a decent beat-em-up shocker, and there are a couple of screenshots from the game to give you a flavor. Overall, it's promising all the usual N64 goodness, reviews, previews, and cheats. Standard magazine cover stuff, really. This page is an advert, all about GoldenEye 007. It's pushing the idea that you're properly in control of the action, highlighting the detail in the game with things like 30 different means of assassination and 20 missions. It mentions the Rumble Pack, letting you feel the recoil of weapons, which was a big deal at the time for immersion. Alongside the GoldenEye bit, there's a subscription offer for 64 magazine. They're saying you can save £37 and get 12 issues of the mag, a free solutions book, and even a free Nintendo game for £70 all in. The deal includes a choice of games like Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye itself, Super Mario 64, or Mario Kart 64. They also throw in a free strategy guide for Super Mario 64, Lilac Wars, or GoldenEye. You can see screenshots of Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Mario Kart 64, and cover images of the strategy guides for Super Mario 64, GoldenEye and Lilac Wars to tempt you. They're really going all out to get you subscribed, with Bond himself saying, "I'll save the world, you save the money." This page is the contents spread for volume 11 of 64 magazine, laying out all the goodies inside. It kicks off with Andy's showcase editorial, always a good read, and it looks like he's pondering James Bond and some fancy gold controllers this month. When I'm 64 is an interesting piece, seeing what the Brits made of Pocket Monsters on the 64DD, and it sounds like they were a bit underwhelmed. Mystical Ninja starring Goemon is previewed. Goemon's talking English for the first time, it seems. Gizmos and Gadgets will be diving into the latest hardware bits and bobs, and Happy Birthday to Ya marks the N64 hitting its first birthday. Fancy a Nintendo Addict quiz? Well, they've got one here. Then it's on to the reviews section, packed with games like Fighter's Destiny Shock Horror Probe, Robotron 64, Tamagotchi World, which looks a bit odd with its bobble hat, Top Gear Rally, Nagano Winter Olympics, and Snowboard Kids. Tamagotchi World gets another feature as well, described as some sort of virtual pet board game. Quirky. Cheat Central is about turning your N64 into a Game Boy emulator, of all things, and 64 Score Zone wants to find the best gamers out there. Bomberman 64 gets the full guide treatment for those tricky bomb placements, and WCW vs NWO World Tour is in there if you're into your wrestling. A decent mix of stuff in this issue, really. 64 magazine's showcase section opens with Andy McDermott's editorial and a look back at the GoldenEye frenzy, highlighting Nintendo's success leading to shortages. Next, the magazine previews a limited edition gold N64 console and controller, celebrating the console's anniversary, along with a teaser for Zelda 64, calling it the spiritual successor to the SNES Zelda. The section also previews Rats, a cartoon violence game described as a cross between Bomberman and Spy vs. Spy, with a November release planned. Finally, the section discusses rumors of Psygnosis bringing PlayStation titles like Wipeout 2097, Colony Wars, and Formula 1 to the N64, with Wipeout 2097 being a strong possibility. Upcoming N64 titles and news are highlighted in this magazine excerpt. Electronic Arts is developing 2 games, Nuclear Chopper, a 3D helicopter combat game with a global setting, and Road Rash 64, promising chaotic motorbike racing. Nintendo is partnering with Kyocera to launch satellite broadcasting in Japan for the 64DD in 2000, enabling game data downloads and potentially Pocket Monsters TV access. A GoldenEye sequel is in development by Rare, but without the James Bond license, focusing on a new character. Yoshi's Story is getting difficulty adjustments based on feedback. Finally, a game with the attention-grabbing title, Wanted Rock Hard Ass-Kicking 16th Century Samurai Type to rid land of tyrant forces, is mentioned. 64 magazine previews upcoming N64 games. Infogrames is developing Looney Tunes titles. Human Entertainment is creating Air Turbo, a hoverboard racing game. A modified N64 arcade machine, Alec, is in development. Release dates for various regions are listed, including games like NHL Breakaway, 98, Mystical Ninja, and Quake 64. Charts show Diddy Kong Racing at number 1. News snippets reveal GT Interactive is working on a 4-player mode for Quake 64. Acclaim is developing a cricket game, while Boss Game Studios is working on a Top Gear Rally sequel. Konami is releasing baseball and hockey games, and Argonaut is making Buck Bumble. LucasArts plans a Star Wars game. Shiny Entertainment is bringing Messiah, Wild 9, MDK2, and RC Stuntcopter, though Messiah and Wild 9 face potential issues. Issue 11 of 64 magazine features reader letters. Sean Halliburton criticizes game quality, finding many N64 games to be ports or average, and questions their price. Rob Bick expresses concern about Nintendo's focus on games like Pokémon, fearing the N64's power is underutilized, and the company caters too much to Japanese tastes. Mark Bones, preferring larger, original games, desires more RPGs, and expresses frustration with the lack of Western-focused titles. He's tempted by PlayStation and Final Fantasy. Christopher Martin argues for a broader appeal, noting older gamers enjoy the N64 and the need for more mature games. Finally, Jan Winterburn humorously comments on Rumble Packs and asks about the release of Zelda 64. The issue also contains a list of N64 peripherals from Fire International with their prices. In this issue's Q&A, readers inquire about the 64DD, N64 game releases, and Square Enix RPGs. Andy notes uncertainty surrounding the 64DD's UK release and potential territorial lockouts, with a late 1999 release possible. Unimerally is unlikely, while Micro Machines is still considered. Square RPGs are downplayed. Additional questions regarding the 64DD confirm its 4 MB cartridge size and highlight the lack of games as the reason for its non-manufacture. Readers also voice concerns. Jenna criticizes a confusing game bundle, and Alex suggests demo cartridges. David criticizes a biased memory card review, while Gary expresses support for the magazine. An advert promotes the Blaze 2-in-1 Jolt Pack and memory card for the N64, and the VRF1 accelerator force feedback wheel is also mentioned. This page of 64 site focuses on Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. It's previewing this Japanese 3D adventure game, and they're upfront about how utterly bizarre it is, in a good way mind you. They mention if you played the import you'll know about the strangeness, like whacking bald ladies in dresses and riding fish on poles. Apparently now with the translation it's easier to understand what the characters are on about, but it doesn't make it any less bonkers. They reckon the translation might be a bit off in places, which just adds to the game's odd charm. One of the screenshots even shows a line, "Why, you've taken all your clothes off," and another with a character saying, "What do you mean? I'm 85 years old, you know." There's also a bit about Ebisu laying into some samurai penguins with a mallet, which sounds perfectly normal for this game. They seem to be really digging the sheer outlandishness of it all. This preview of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon highlights its quirky, over-the-top nature. The game, a sequel to the Japanese import, features Goemon and his friends battling musically themed aliens trying to conquer Japan. Gameplay involves exploring feudal Japan, collecting items, and fighting robots, all delivered with a distinctly Japanese sense of humor. The Western release boasts a crucial English translation, making the game's jokes and character interactions accessible. This enhances the already enjoyable experience. The review teases a cast of eccentric characters, like the talking dog Chuppy. With exciting locations and bizarre enemies, the reviewer anticipates a fun and uniquely Japanese adventure. The next page in 64 site features a look at 3 upcoming titles. First up is Biofreaks from Midway, described as a beat-em-up but in a class of its own, not to be confused with Virgin's Freak Boy, whatever that was. It's set in a Mad Max-style future and boasts 10 characters battling it out. The interesting bit is the level of gore. You'll see proper damage on the fighters as they get pummeled, with weapons like chainsaws and flamethrowers, and impalements and decapitations are all on the cards. They also mention a soft skinning technique used for the characters, which they say is also used in 1080-degree snowboarding. Next is Wrecking Balls from Acclaim, developed by Iguana, the guys behind Turok, but this is a very different beast. Apparently it was originally called something else, but they dropped the W and G. It's described as a racing game, but with puzzle elements where you race as balls, everyday balls apparently, around tracks with conveyor belts and springs. Up to 4 players can get involved, and there are over 100 courses across different environments. Finally, there's a quick mention of Banjo-Kazooie from Nintendo and Rare. It's being shown at E3 and is nearing completion. They're showing more shots of the bizarre characters and expect it to be a redneck rampage real soon. This page of 64 site kicks off with a look at Spooky from British developers Ice, quite a departure from their usual style, ditching the cute for a darker, more ominous 3D adventure. You play as a shape-shifting bloke in lycra battling super powerful creatures in a desolate world ruled by the evil Archmorph. The goal is to recover shards of a magic mirror to take on Archmorph and free the true ruler. They mention the game has a very dark and foreboding atmosphere, visually different from your typical Brighton 64 games. It's due out later in the year apparently. Then there's a preview of Mike Piazza's Strike Zone from GT Interactive, coming out in spring in the States. It's a baseball game, aimed for a more arcade-style experience, easy to pick up and play, but also with a simulation mode for stats fans. They compare it to MLB, featuring Ken Griffey Jr., Strike Zone. They're wondering if it'll even get released over here, and if anyone will care about another baseball game. Finally, there's an advert for strategy guides. They're offering guides for Lilac Wars, GoldenEye, and Mario 64. You can get all 3 for £19.95, which is a saving, or buy them individually for £9.95 each. There's an order form to send off if you fancy grabbing them. This page is a big advert from Gameplay, boasting about being Britain's largest mail-order supplier for computer games. They're pushing 64 consoles at what they claim are Britain's lowest prices, starting at £90.99, with bundles including games like Mario Kart 64 and Lilac Wars. They've got a section on official Nintendo joypads, and other accessories like steering wheels and memory cards. There's a coming soon section showing off games like Banjo-Kazooie, Buggy Boogie, Clay Fighter 63 1/3, and Hexen. They're also highlighting the Nintendo Virtual Boy at £44.99. Interestingly, they've started stocking second-hand games, promising top quality and guarantees. There's a list of both UK and US Nintendo 64 games for sale, including titles like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64 or Lilac Wars as it's known here, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter amongst many others. They even list some PlayStation games too. It's basically a mail order form to fill out if you want to buy anything. The Gizmos and Gadgets section reviews several N64 peripherals. The SFX64V3, a £14.99 multi-format adapter, allows users to play games from different regions, though some compatibility issues exist. The SF4 steering wheel, priced at £69.99, is decent for Mario Kart but less so for other racing games. Its built-in rumble pack is a positive, though the paddle shifter lacked proper game support. The Ultra Racer 64, a budget-friendly £29.99 wheel, works well, especially considering its compact size and effective quick turning. Lastly, the LX4 Tremor Pack, a £19.99 combined rumble pack and 1 MB memory card, provides powerful, battery-free rumble and is considered good value. This article celebrates the Nintendo 64's first year in Britain. The launch was a success, with long queues and popular titles like Super Mario 64 and Pilotwings. The article highlights various front covers featuring N64 games, including GoldenEye, lauded as a top title, and ISS 64, praised as the best football game. It also notes price cuts and sales figures, comparing them to the PlayStation. The article then moves on to other topics, including the then current events, such as Tony Blair's election win and the death of Princess Diana. It also criticizes the Nintendo controller pack's memory limitations. Finally, a time machine section traces Nintendo's history from its playing card beginnings in 1889, through the development of seminal games and consoles, up to the SuperFami.com/SSNES era. The latest issue of 64 Solutions magazine, priced at £3.95, focuses solely on Nintendo 64 tips. This issue promises complete game solutions for titles like Duke Nukem 64 and San Francisco Rush, along with an A to Z cheat and tip guide. The magazine criticizes the slow release schedule of Nintendo games, estimating a 45-day wait between releases. It also reminisces about the N64's launch price, highlighting the £250 cost in the UK, higher than competing consoles, and the resulting feeling of being overcharged. The review section includes a score for Clay Fighter 63 1/3. The magazine concludes with a timeline of the N64's UK release in March 1997 and touches upon the differences between NTSC and PAL versions of games, including issues like speed differences and borders. This quiz challenges your knowledge of the Nintendo 64. Game Fever tests general Nintendo trivia, while Mini Masterclass focuses on 64-specific facts. Do I Know You? Requires character identification, and the True or False section assesses your knowledge of N64 history. Alien Autopsy tasks you with identifying circuit board components, and Learning Japanese tests your ability to recognize Japanese game titles. Babe Watch challenges you to identify digitized ladies. Attack of the Blurbs asks you to match game blurbs with their titles, and Where in the World requires you to identify in-game locations from screenshots. The quiz is a fun way to gauge your Nintendo fandom. Whoa! This page features a bit of a laugh with a games addiction quiz, designed to see just how much of a Nintendo nut you really are. It asks questions like how much you paid for your N64, how many controllers you own, including the color variations naturally, and even gets a bit technical asking about trilinear mipmapping. They reckon if you're not seeing your reflection in the mirror, you're turning into Peter Beardsley, which is a bit harsh. Following the quiz is a scoring section to tally up your points and find out your addiction level. Apparently, if you score high enough, you're dreaming about Diddy Kong racing at 4 a.m. and are well on your way to being completely hooked. Alongside all that is an advert for Madeira Games, who are bragging about being N64 and PlayStation specialists and having the lowest prices guaranteed for all the latest games from the US and Japan. They're listing titles like Yoshi's Story, Fighter's Destiny and Quake. Seems they stock everything from consoles and controllers to memory cards and RGB leads. They're pushing a universal PlayStation for £1XX and highlighting Yoshi's Story at £49.99. And if you fancy a Japanese white Saturn, they've got those for £199 as well. Right at the bottom there's a small ad for Paragon Internet covering netgaming, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Internet Paranormal, plugging their website and even an AOL keyword, which dates it a bit, doesn't it? This issue dives into diverse N64 games. Fighter's Destiny is hailed as excellent, while Tamagotchi World is a peculiar mix of board game, video game and virtual pet. Robotron 64 earns praise as a top blaster, despite delays. Top Gear Rally's Japanese version is even more highly rated. The UK Updates section assesses Nagano Winter Olympics, pondering its relevance post-event, and questions the abundance of winter sports games with snowboard kids. Reviews use a detailed scoring system. Gold medal, 95% plus, means a must-buy, while lower scores indicate varying levels of recommendation, down to the dead zone, 20 to 39%, and below. Visual ratings are illustrated using Nintendo 64 logos. Each review includes standard game info, memory options, and controller pack details. The $64,000 question focuses on N64 usage, and PAL performance addresses game optimization for UK televisions. Fighter's Destiny for the N64 is lauded as a much-needed, quality beat-em-up. Praised for its smooth, large characters, extensive movesets, and diverse roster, it allows for saving hidden characters and game settings. The game features 9 fighters, each with unique origins, styles, and stats, including Ryuji, Japan, Abdul, Mongolia, and Mei Ling, China. The review highlights its departure from traditional health bar-based combat, with a point system based on knockouts, throws, and counters. Visually, the game resembles Tekken, with 3D environments and ring-based movement. While some comparisons are drawn to Sega Fighters, the overall consensus is positive, considering Fighter's Destiny a significant improvement for the N64's fighting game library. This page continues the review of Fighter's Destiny. It delves deeper into the game mechanics, explaining the point system which rewards knockdowns, ring-outs, and throws more than simply depleting a health bar. The review emphasizes the strategic depth of the game, particularly the importance of counter moves and blocking throws, and how throws become more crucial than just button-mashing attacks. The page also highlights the control freaks aspect, praising the character control and movement options beyond just forward and backward. It mentions Master Challenge Mode as another key feature, where players can unlock new moves by defeating Master. The review showcases several in-game screenshots demonstrating different stages and gameplay scenarios, such as knockdowns and ring-outs, and even the rodeo mode featuring the character Borodino. The overall tone remains enthusiastic, emphasizing that Fighter's Destiny offers more depth and fun than a typical beat-em-up, especially when mastering its unique combat system. This page continues the Fighter's Destiny review, diving into what makes it a great game. They reckon the gameplay itself, the crunch they call it, is spot on, with responsive controls especially for blocking and countering. They reckon it's not just about button mashing, but proper strategy. There's a clever steal those skills element where you can nab moves from characters in master mode, adding a layer of strategy to character building, even letting you swap memory cards with mates to share characters. Moving on to Enemy Mine, it talks about hidden characters and modes. There's Battle the Master, where you take on the master character Dr. Shin, Joker in the pack focusing on Joker, and Fighting Mad Cows, which mentions a rodeo mode with a cow called USHI. They also touch on Robbie the Robot in training mode, and Borrow the Bird, another hidden character you can unlock. The screenshots show off these various modes and characters in action. The bottom line section quickly covers the controls, straightforward enough with blocks and evade. Alternatives suggests Art of Fighting Twin and Mace, the Dark Age if you fancy something similar. Overall, they've given Fighter's Destiny a whopping 92% score, calling it top beat-em-up action and the best on the N64 so far. Seems like a proper winner then. This review of Robotron 64, nicknamed Slaphead, highlights its relentless, arcade-style action. A descendant of Robotron 2084, the game, developed by Crave Entertainment, throws waves of robots at the player, who runs and shoots. The reviewer humorously interviews Nintendo, asking about the hero, Eugene. The game features power-ups, diverse enemies, and levels with civilians to rescue. The review praises the game's unstoppably playable nature, keeping close to the original's formula. Screenshots reveal gameplay elements like bonus levels and beam mazes. Despite its single-player focus, the review lists pros like non-stop action and good controls, while cons include dated graphics, an annoying password system, and repetitive music. The Zap Zap Die Blammo conclusion emphasizes the game's pure shooting focus, with little emphasis on tactics. This page dives deeper into Robotron 64, showcasing the power-ups available to Eugene, like two-way fire, three-way and four-way fire, shield, gas gun, flamethrower, speed up, and the essential one-up. The review talks about the control scheme, praising how the N64 pad cleverly mimics the twin-stick arcade setup with the D-pad, or analog stick for movement, and C buttons for firing in all directions, making good use of the extra fire buttons on the N64 controller. It's highlighted as a fast-paced game, even faster than the PlayStation version, emphasizing the non-stop action and reliance on reflexes just like the arcade original. The reviewer reckons Robotron 64 is easier than the original 2084, but still addictive in that old-school, mindless shoot-'em-up way. There's a second opinion from Roy Kimber who absolutely loves it, calling it mad and stating it proves old games are still the best, urging people to buy it if they want a hectic blast. The game gets top marks across the board in the rating section, scoring 5 out of 5 for graphics, audio, gameplay, and lasting challenge, culminating in an overall score of 82%. The bottom line section details the control layout on the N64 pad and suggests Doom 64 and Duke Nukem 64 as alternatives. The soundbite at the end calls it an excellent update to a classic video game, then asks about Tempest 2000. This review discusses the N64 game Tamagotchi World, describing it as an oddity. The intro sequence, humorously titled, What the Gotch, features Tamagotchis in space and a controversial joke. The gameplay is a board game with pop-up scenery, where players care for their Tamagotchi, including feeding and cleaning up messes. The game also includes the ability to punish your Tamagotchi. The review notes a 4-player mode with controller passing. However, there's no memory or controller pack support. While deemed simplistic yet cute, perfect for Tamagotchi fans, it's criticized for infrequent subgames and its high price. The review points out various minigames, visible in screenshots. Overall, the game is described as a somewhat bizarre title, capitalizing on the Tamagotchi craze, but possibly not essential for N64 owners. This page is a review for Tamagotchi World on the N64, and it's fair to say they're a bit bemused by it all. They call it quite good fun, especially for Tamagotchi fans, but also quite bizarre. The review highlights the mini-games you play on the board game, like Balloon Game, Tug-O-War, Cloud Game, Drill Game, Joypad Game, Maze Game, Turd Game, Bang, and UFO. There are screenshots of these, and they look simple enough, proper kid-friendly games. The review mentions you care for your Tamagotchi by feeding it, cleaning up after it, and even punishing it. They reckon the subgames aren't that frequent, but the controller bashing ones, on the buttons of a giant Nintendo controller, are the most fun. There's a second opinion from Graham Nicholson, who says he drove all the way to London for the UK Tamagotchi keyring launch, so he's clearly a fan of the Little Blighters, and he calls the game a joyous experience. The game gets a 72% overall score, with ratings for graphics, audio and gameplay getting 4 out of 5 N64 logos, and lasting challenge getting 3. The bottom line calls it a cute oddity, mainly for Tamagotchi fans or those with a fetish for all things Japanese. The controls section just shows the N64 controller layout, saying L and R are not used, and the D-pad is also not used. This review raves about the Japanese import of Top Gear Rally on the N64, calling it a 64 sizzler. They found it superior to the US and European versions, citing improved handling, new cars, including a flame job truck and a beach ball car, larger tracks, and faster, smoother gameplay. The review highlights impressive weather effects and new race locations like a beach course. Gameplay modes include Championship and 2-player arcade. The game receives near-perfect scores across the board, with full marks for graphics, audio, gameplay, and lasting challenge, leading to an overall score of 92%. A second opinion supports the claim. Even if the tracks are the same, the added content and improved performance justify the import. The final verdict: a superior game worth the extra cost, Japanese text notwithstanding. Nagano Winter Olympics for the N64 is a surprise early release offering a variety of winter sports events. While the reviewer criticizes the simple controls, particularly for freestyle skiing, they acknowledge its classic sports game roots. Andy's second opinion is more positive, finding it a decent sports title. The game receives solid ratings, 3/5 for graphics and audio, and 4/5 for gameplay and lasting challenge, resulting in an overall score of 77%. Saving requires a controller pack. Alternatives include Snowboard Kids and Wayne Gretzky's Hockey 98. The PAL version faces typical performance issues. The game is promoted by Eddie the Eagle. Ultimately, Nagano Winter Olympics is deemed a fairly good sports sim, and a welcome early release for the N64. This page is an UK update reviewing Snowboard Kids on the N64. It's pitched as an ideal holiday game, snowboarding with kids who have large noses. The review emphasizes it's a snowboarding game, focused on fun, rather than simulation. It details in-game items divided by color, red items like parachute, snowman, ice, shove, bomb, and blue items like propeller, ghost, rock and coin, mouse, and invisibility, all designed to cause mayhem. The game features colorful kid characters and various hazards on the tracks. Memory options are standard, needing a controller pack to save custom paint jobs. The PAL version has no apparent speed drop. The review highlights the frantic 4-player mode as a key feature and mentions 6 tracks available from the start. The review scores are very positive, giving it 4 out of 5 N64 logos for graphics, audio, gameplay, and lasting challenge, resulting in an overall score of 85%. Alternatives mentioned are Nagano Winter Olympics and Diddy Kong Racing. A second opinion from Paul Morgan reinforces the game's fun multiplayer and excitement. The soundbite claims the multiplayer outraces Diddy Kong Racing, suggesting it is a very strong kart racer alternative, but on snowboards. This Cheat Central section from 64 Magazine offers a collection of cheat codes for several Nintendo 64 games. FIFA Road to World Cup 98 features codes for visual and gameplay alterations like player color changes, invisible players, and unique animations. Robotron 64 includes codes for speed boosts, weapon upgrades, and level selects, along with password-based level unlocks. NFL Quarterback Club 98 boasts a vast table of cheats, offering everything from 8 downs and slow motion to altered player attributes and fumble modes. Finally, F1 Pole Position reveals the method to unlock a secret car by completing the game and holding specific buttons at the right moment. The page also briefly touches on WCW vs NWO, wrestling moves, and Bomberman 64 tips for hidden gold cards. This Cheat Central page provides N64 game tips and advertisements. For Aero Gauge, a turbo boost and secret unlocks are detailed. Top Gear Rally cheats involve button combinations for special cars. The page also criticizes Datal Action replay code updates, but provides codes for Bomberman 64 and Hexen. Advertisements include 64 power cheats, offering codes via premium numbers categorized by game type, and Richland Solutions, which offers stereo conversions and modulator modifications. Finally, new generation consoles advertises imported games for N64, highlighting US and Japanese imports like Mario Kart 64 and Top Gear Rally. This page features the Score Zone section, with Roy Kimber, the self-proclaimed Zone Master, overseeing player score submissions. This month's ultimate player is Ian Gore from Bridgewater, who's clearly a cat lover. Judging by his photo, he's topped the charts in Diddy Kong Racing. Players are encouraged to send in their best times and scores, backed up by video evidence on VHS, to prove they're not fibbing, especially for the Ultimate Player Challenge, which wants video footage of completing a level to get invincibility in GoldenEye. Cheeky! They even mention Peter Bell, who sent in a GoldenEye montage. There's a whole load of high scores listed for Diddy Kong Racing, Wave Race, Mario Kart 64, Extreme G, GoldenEye and Star Fox 64. Loads of familiar names there like Mark Bones, Peter Bell, and William McMillan battling it out across various games. There's also mugshots encouraging readers to send in photos to be featured, and an Ultimate Player competition where you could win a Trident pad and a memory card from Logic 3. Those were alright bits of kit back in the day. Advertisements on the page include Daniel Russell flogging ad space in the magazine, Wild Imports pushing Japanese and American 64 consoles and modding services, Visions offering game exchange deals and next-day delivery, Skill flogging us N64 consoles and games like Mario Kart 64 and 1080 snowboarding, and On the Edge promising the lowest prices on imports and current releases. Standard stuff for the time, really. This page is a guide for Bomberman 64, walking you through the Green Garden level. It's a step-by-step, detonation-by-detonation guide, as they put it. It highlights collecting gold cards, which are key to reaching the hidden Rainbow Palace apparently. Key. The guide breaks down Stage 1 into Untouchable Treasure, where you need to deactivate force fields, and Stage 2, Friend or Foe, where you have to fight Sirius. They give tips on getting gold cards in each stage, like blowing up pillars to reach the first card, using pumped bombs to get the second, and navigating around blocks for the third. Stage 2 gold cards are focused on defeating Sirius in different ways, like hitting him with bomb blasts and bouncing bombs on his head. There's also a section on mastering bomb bridges to get gold cards in the first level, explaining how to place bombs to reach higher platforms to collect a super bomb item. It seems quite involved, with diagrams showing pillar placements and bomb throws. Stage 3, To Have or Have Not, tasks Bomberman with chasing a gem-stealing bird, utilizing bombs and boost panels to navigate rooftops. Stage 4, Winged Guardian, features a boss battle against a fire-breathing dragon on a narrow bridge. Bomberman must bomb the dragon's body, avoiding its fire. Blue Resort Stage 1, Switches and Bridges, presents a level focused on manipulating switches and bridges, requiring players to navigate around crates, bomb trees for gems, and use flowerpot switches. Gold card objectives add challenges to Stages 3 and 4. Stage 3 requires remote bomb and bomb bouncing skills, enemy takedowns, and speed. Stage 4's gold cards focus on hitting specific dragon parts and fast completion. This page of the magazine is a playing guide for Bomberman 64, covering stages 1, 2, and 3. Stage 1, titled Stand By to Activate, guides you through activating a dam to lower water levels. You'll need to use bombs to activate switches and navigate the area, eventually acquiring a super bomb weapon by blowing up a grey box. The gold cards for Stage 1 involve using remote bombs and targeting specific objects like rotating cannons and flowerpots. Stage 2, vs Artemis, details the boss battle against Artemis. She attacks with bombs and a 3-bullet gun. The guide advises stunning her with a bomb before attacking again, and mentions a pink heart item she drops for temporary invincibility. The gold cards for Stage 2 focus on defeating Artemis in specific ways, with pumped bombs and special attacks, and within a target time. Stage 3, Pump It Up, starts in Area 1 where you blow up crates, navigate archways and stairs to reach Area 2. Here you lower a bridge with a pumped bomb and ascend stairs to Area 3. The guide mentions using a pumped bomb near a wall to raise water levels and find stairs to the exit, also highlighting a super bomb power-up hidden in a block. Gold cards in Stage 3 require reaching switches, using pumped remote bombs to lower bridges, platforming after switch activation, and time-based challenges. This page continues the playing guide for Bomberman 64, this time covering Stage 4, Sewer Savage, and Stage 1 Hot on the Trail from Red Mountain. For Sewer Savage, it's all about battling a mutant fish boss, The guide explains his 3 attack types, including a mace appendage and a knife-like wave, advising to use pumped bombs when he's attacking with his mace or swimming behind you. It also mentions disabling his mace is possible with careful bomb placement and managing the raft when he creates waves. The gold cards for this stage are focused on specific bomb placements on the fish's face, mace and tail, getting the raft down to 1 log, and beating the boss within a target time. Moving on to Red Mountain Stage 1. Hot on the trail, it warns of burning balls of molten lava falling from the sky and cone-shaped rocks. The guide directs you through metal walkways and rock platforms in Area 1. Then into Area 2, navigating fireballs and using a pumped bomb to topple a rock slab bridge. It mentions collecting a remote bomb power-up, essential for later. The Stage 1 gold cards for Red Mountain involve taking the right walkway in Area 2 and blowing up rocks, getting a super bomb and dropping it on the start platform, reaching the highest platform in Area 4 via Area 5, killing 30 enemies and finishing within the target time. Stage 2's vs Orion features a sub-boss with an expanding shield. To defeat him, trap him with bombs when he crouches. Stage 2 gold cards involve specific actions like bouncing bombs off Orion and completing the stage quickly. Stage 3, on the right track, involves a shortcut with minecarts and camera changes, described as convoluted. The guide details a shortcut with a railway track to bypass areas. Stage 4, Hot Avenger, is a volcanic robot boss. Strategies include using pumped bombs, especially when he's turning, to disable his arms. Be aware that this triggers lava bombs. Stage 4 gold cards tasks players to destroy specific robot parts and reveals Orion within. Finishing within a time limit is also rewarded. For Le Pas. This page of 64 magazine delves into Bomberman 64, specifically the White Glacier world. We're looking at Stage 1, Blizzard Peaks, which is all about causing avalanches, blowing up trees, and taking out snowmen and snowboarders, all whilst battling against strong gusts of wind. For the gold cards in this stage, you'll need to find cards hidden inside trees in Area 1 and Area 2, navigate down from the Area 3 ski lift to Area 4's bridge, defeat 30 enemies and finish within the target time. We're looking hour. Then it moves on to Stage 2, versus Regulus, which is a boss battle against Regulus. He's a straightforward boss who charges at you, but the trick is to just kick bombs into him to stop him in his tracks. For the Stage 2 gold cards, you need to bounce pumped bombs on his head, hit him with bomb blasts, kick bombs into him when he charges, beat him normally, and also beat him within the target time. Looks like those gold cards are going to keep you busy. This page of 64 magazine continues with the Bomberman 64 playing guide. Moving on to Stage 3, Shiny Slippy Icy Floor. It sounds a right pain this level. The guide says it's a bugger because of the slippery ice and camera angles playing tricks on you. It talks you through Area 1 to Area 4, explaining how to navigate the icy surfaces, use slopes to slide down, and blow up snowmen to activate switches, typical Bomberman puzzle stuff. For the gold cards in Stage 3, they're hidden in icicles in Area 2 and Area 4, and another is on a small platform in Area 3, plus killing 30 enemies and finishing in the target time. Twing. Then it moves on to Stage 4, Cold Killers, which features a massive ice spider boss. The guide calls it vicious but not too hard. The strategy is all about staying under its shadow to avoid its pincers, and then pumping up bombs to hit it when it pauses after trying to squash you. Apparently you need to hit it with bombs until it gets confused, then throw a bomb at its body. For the Stage 4 gold cards, you've got to hit each of its claws, its helmet, and its underside with pumped bombs, and then finish within the target time. Sounds like a proper bomb fest, that last stage. This page continues the Bomberman 64 playing guide, jumping back to Stage 1, Go for Broke. It describes the stage as having 2 parts. Getting from right to left through the areas, and dealing with automated weapons. It explains about the traffic patterns, with buses and cars in different lanes, and gives a step-by-step walkthrough for navigating Area 1 and Area 2, involving using bombs to get across partitions and timing movements with the traffic. It then covers Area 3 and Area 4, again with traffic dodging and bomb techniques to reach Area 5 and Area 6. Stage 1 gold card objectives are listed. Finding cards in Area 2 and Area 4 in traffic poles, another in Area 5, killing 30 enemies and finishing within the target time. Moving on to Stage 2, High-Tech Harvester. This guide details the boss fight against a hover tank. It highlights the Seeker missiles as the main threat, and explains the hover tank's weapons and attack patterns. The strategy for defeating it is to use normal bombs, not pumped bombs, kicking them and detonating them close to the boss. The Stage 2 gold card objectives involve hitting the right and left gun ports, the glowing sphere, and the nose of the hover tank with pumped bombs, plus finishing within the target time. This page continues the Bomberman 64 playing guide with Stage 3, Trap Tower. It's all about navigating the tower, starting from Area 1 and moving up through the levels, activating switches, crossing bridges, and avoiding lasers. The guide gives a step-by-step walkthrough covering areas up to Area 5, and even touches on Area 6. Stage 3 also has gold cards to collect, detailing locations for 3 cards including one in Area 2 and another in Area 3, and objectives for killing enemies and finishing within the target time. Next up is Stage 4, vs Altair, the boss stage. This chap Altair is described as similar to previous bosses but with a hovering laser, and he's a bit thick, running into explosions. The guide explains his attack patterns, including an energy bolt, and the strategy to defeat him is to knock him dizzy to plant a bomb. Stage 4 gold card objectives are listed too, bouncing pumped bombs on Altair's head, hitting him with bomb blasts, beating him untransformed and transformed, and finishing within the time limit. Finally, there's a little snippet about collecting 100 gold cards, unlocking the Rainbow Palace and secret levels, but reckons you won't need any help from them to complete it. This page is a packed advert from Excitement Direct. They are really pushing the Nintendo 64 here. You can even pick up a PlayStation from them if you must. Game-wise, there's a massive selection, with some cracking titles like Yoshi's Story, Tetrisphere and Blast Corps all pictured and looking colourful. Duke Nukem, Diddy Kong Racing, Lamborghini 64, and WCW vs NWO World Tour are also shown off some real classics there. GoldenEye 007 and Turok are definitely headliners, plus they've got Clay Fighters and Cruisin' USA, if you fancy something a bit different. Snowboard Kids and Fighters Destiny are in the mix as well, and they are even pushing International Superstar Soccer 64 for the footy fans. Loads of special offers on game bundles and all the accessories you could need. Controllers in all sorts of colors, steering wheels to make those racing games sing, memory cards to save your progress, and of course rumble packs so you can really feel every bump and explosion. And get this, they are even selling Super NES games and bits and bobs for the retro fans. If anything takes your fancy, there's a mail order form to fill out. This page is your move bible for WCW vs NWO World Tour, straight from THQ no less, for what they reckon is an 85% rated game. They've given a breakdown of moves for Lex Luger, Sting, Giant and Scott Steiner, proper stars back then. Each wrestler has a set of kicks and punches, weak and strong grappling moves, what to do with an opponent on the mat, turnbuckle and rope moves, plus how to throw a dazed opponent into the turnbuckle. There are even special moves for when your spirit meter is flashing, all the button combos you'll ever need to lay the smack down in this wrestling classic. The next page delves deeper into the WCW vs NWO World Tour move guide, featuring a quartet of wrestlers and their signature moves. Here you've got Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, with his hidden Canadian backbreaker. Then it's the legendary Nature Boy, Ric Flair, known for his figure 4-leg lock. Move sets for both are listed here, covering kicks, punches and grappling. Ultimo Dragon, with his Dragon Sleeper, gets a look in too, showcasing his unique style. And lastly, Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 holds, with his Texas Cloverleaf, rounding out the roster with a detailed move breakdown including special moves for when the spirit meter is flashing, all aimed at helping you dominate in the ring. This page continues the lowdown on WCW vs NWO World Tour, this time spotlighting another 4 wrestlers and their movesets. First up is Eddie Guerrero, the Latino Heat himself, with his Frog Splash finisher. Rey Mysterio Jr., the high-flying acrobat, is next, known for his Hurricane Rana pin. Then it's Chris Benoit, the Crippler, and his diving headbutt. Finally, Steven Regal, with his appropriately named Regal Stretch. Each wrestler has a breakdown of their kicks and punches, weak and strong grappling moves from the front and rear, whip to ropes maneuvers, turnbuckle and rope moves, throws into the turnbuckle, and moves for when the opponent is on the mat. Eddie and Steven also have special moves listed for when that spirit meter is flashing, adding a bit of extra flair to their arsenals. This page features a Here's Toby comic strip. It's a bit of a laugh, following Toby's journey into a cynical boy band called Boys World. We see him at auditions, getting picked for being plain looking, then straight into band practice and a music video shoot. Turns out Toby's singing is dreadful, and he gets the boot for deviating from the lyrics. The strip ends on a sad note with Toby begging for change after the band makes it big. Below the comic there's an advert for computer exchange, sex. They're flogging games for PlayStation, Saturn, and of course the N64. Looking at the N64 titles, they've got NBA in the Zone, 98, Nintama Rantaro, Last Legion USEX, SimCity 2000, 1080 Snowboarding, Yoshi's Story, Mission Impossible, and Banjo-Kazooie amongst a load of others. They're pushing both new and second-hand games, with low prices, apparently tearing other shops to pieces. They've got shops in central London, Tottenham, Middlesex and Birmingham, open 7 days a week, and they do mail order too, with a hotline number. Opening hours are listed, and they're even buying games for cash. Good old sex, always there for your gaming needs. This page advertises 64 Magazine's back issues, 1 to 10, with issues 1, 3, 6 and 9 sold out, and subscription deals. Notable back issues covered games like Mario 64, Star Fox 64, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Zelda 64, and Yoshi's Story. A Mega Deal subscription offers 12 issues plus a free game, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, Super Mario 64 or Mario Kart 64, and a strategy guide, Super Mario 64, Lilac Wars, or GoldenEye, for £40. Standard subscriptions of 6 issues, £15 in the UK, and 12 issues, £30 in the UK, are also available. International pricing is higher. Subscription forms are provided, with payment via cheque/postal order or credit card. Contact details for subscriptions are included. This N64 magazine page reviews a diverse range of games. Aero Fighters Assault and Aero Gauge disappoint, while Art of Fighting Twin is middling. Automobili Lamborghini offers some fun in its 4-player mode, and Blast Corps presents a unique racing puzzle experience. Bomberman 64 single-player saves it, while Chameleon Twist and Clay Fighter 63 1/3 are heavily criticized. Cruisin' USA is low quality, Dark Rift is derivative, and Diddy Kong Racing shines as essential. Doom 64 is decent, while Doraemon falls flat. Dual Heroes is terrible, and Duke Nukem 64 succeeds despite censorship. Extreme G is fast, and F1 pole position is hampered by physics. FIFA 64 is awful, but Road to World Cup 98 is better. Ganbare Goemon is RPG-like. GoldenEye is the best game, Hexen is dated, and ISS 64 remains a football favorite. J-League Dynamite Soccer is average, John Madden 64 is solid. Killer Instinct Gold is fast-paced. The Glory of St. Andrews is considered terrible. N64 game reviews are presented, ranging from stellar to disastrous. Lilac Wars and Super Mario 64 both earn 94%, praised for their graphics and innovative gameplay. Other top scorers include Top Gear Rally, 90%, Puyo Puyo Sun 64, and Wave Race 64 87%, and WCW vs NWO World Tour 85%. Mixed scores are given to titles like Mace, The Dark Age, 76%, and Mario Kart 64, 80%, with criticism for the latter's shortcomings compared to its predecessor. Lower scores include Mortal Kombat Trilogy, 55%, NBA Hangtime, 58%, and Wheel of Fortune, 45%. The reviews cover a wide range of genres, from racing and sports to platformers and fighting games, highlighting both the successes and failures of the N64 library. Issue 12 previews Quake 64, focusing on single-player content instead of the initially planned 4-player feature. The issue also includes the Ninfo section. Special Reserves advertisement dominates the right side, promoting Nintendo 64 consoles at a discounted price, along with Fire, England and Carbon Pack deals. Numerous N64 game titles are listed, featuring classics like GoldenEye, Mario Kart 64, and many others, with varying prices. Accessories are also available. Special Reserve is promoting its annual membership for £6, offering club magazines, a cheat book, and a choice of free gifts. The magazine also lists several club shop locations, and announces issue 12's release date of March 26, including the standard copyright and ISSN information.